Hi, this is my second video for DynamoDB, and this I include. So in this chapter, we will going to learn about NoSQL databases, DynamoDB, and silent feature of DynamoDB, and AWS value added in service, and deciding on DynamoDB. So NoSQL database. Uh, we will go for here. We'll cover significant database option, relational database in this and NoSQL database, type of NoSQL database, and advantage of NoSQL database. So we're going to cover here significance. So modern application work, we work on data. Data is new oil, and data need to be sized apart from the application service. Data are used for persisting data over the time. This means that even if you close your application or our server crash, the data will be stored in safety in database somewhere. Data is important, and those the database is the most important component of any application. Database give us way to organize and store data in the cheap storage. It's difficult to create a smart application without database. So the significance of the database means everywhere we need to store the data. It cannot be stored in cache and memory. So database option, there is two options. I work in the data space last 1 decade, and I work in the NoSQL as well as relational databases. So mainly it's categorized into like relational database and NoSQL. So relational database, this is mainly used for OLTP process, means online transaction processing, like when you do the credit cards, when you withdraw the money, and that kind of transaction. Like relational database, right? I mean, the security, and mostly it should support the uh, basic updates and all kind of things. So the example of relational data, Postgres, MySQL, and Oracle, some example of relational database. In relational database, we have table and relation between them. In basic entity, data is stored in form of row within table, and these tables are connected by foreign key and primary key attributes. Relational databases follow the SQL language for throughput operation. Okay, relational database is still the best choice for many applications. Advantage of relational database. Relational database are good choice for applications where data is naturally structured. The applications are easily models and relational schema. Banking applications are good example for this. Relational database provide consistency during write operation. Means if you're writing, it will write all. Hence, the multiple applications are querying or data. Makes sense. Use relational database. They will make sure all the applications receive same data. So also SQL language use the relational database. It's fairly well known, thus there is won't be big learning curve for developer using that. Limitation of relational database. So uh, I mean, last 10 years is change in the data space. Since relational database were first introduced, most of data on internet is unstructured and morphed continuously. For example, data about music you like, YouTube, it will be hard to structure in the relational database. New feature of the data will be becoming important to platform to change over the time. The mismatch between the application and relational schema need to be called impedance mismatch. Relational databases are good solution for some applications, however, they are not most elegant solutions for modern applications. So due to the strict consistency feature, relational database does not scale the horizontally, right? So when you make the copy of data across the machine, we will still update the data on all machine in the case of write operation. So the slow down the write operation in large data sets. Also, Advent Agile methodology, it has become a common practice changes for schema for our database frequently. This is very, so there are many disadvantages and advantage of relational database. So in nowadays data is, so that's why we need to solve those problems. We come with a NoSQL database. So NoSQL offers solution for limitless of SQL database. They give the fast access and horizontal scaling we can do with a schema-less design. So relational database, as I said, is a fixed schema, but here is schema-less. NoSQL is umbrella in terms of modern database which are not relational nature. The full form of NoSQL is not only SQL. This term originally from the meetup with the same name. This meetup the created discuss about new database. NoSQL database like MongoDB And DynamoDB for the most of social media website, e-retail websites. Okay, type of NoSQL. There are four type of usually the NoSQL database. First is key and value. Key value like HBase and these things. Document-based database like MongoDB, graph-based database, columnar-based data type. So the advantage NoSQL database provides speed very high, speed at high scale. They they do this by scaling horizontally across multiple machines. They also provide a flexibility to expressing our data into model that closer to domain. The learning curve involved in NoSQL database is relatively short, so they are good choice for a small team. They are managed options available in NoSQL database, which makes the headache-free to use. AWS can manage, relational database is scaled well. Adding new server, I think it should be, it cannot be scalable, right? So that's why we need, yeah, a NoSQL database. So now let's go to the next things, DynamoDB. So what is the DynamoDB? So DynamoDB is a key value. It's a key value document-based database which deliver single-digit milliseconds. Latency is in the milliseconds. Performance is scalable and fully managed multi-region, multi-active, durable database with built-in security, backup, restoration, and memory caching and internal scale. So all these problems can solve using a DynamoDB, right? It's a key value. So DynamoDB is a simple database, supports key value document-based design. It's fully managed and provide a high performance at a scale. Integrity and performance important. So history of the DynamoDB started in 2017, DynamoDB with white favor, and 2012 initially released, 2013 secondary index support, 2017 automatic scaling, 2018 encryption at rest, 2019 DynamoDB as local. Okay. DynamoDB is a graph-based NoSQL. I think it should be false, right? Yeah, it's not, graph is a key value base. Now the next part we are going here. So Salient feature of DynamoDB. So what is the feature of, these are feature when you consider any database. So let's go by one. Fully managed, it's fully managed by, the AWS, very fast, the latency is in millisecond. It's very scalable horizontally. You can add as much as server, durable and high available, cost is less, flexible schema change. So these are things we are going to cover about the features. So it's a fully managed database. This means you don't need to worry about server and software update. You have to worry about using or managing data. And fast, and yeah, as I said, it's a single digit millisecond latency, high scalable. DynamoDB works better large scale rather than a small scale. The hashing algorithm that work under the hoods get boosted due to the large number of requests. The latency graphs looks like extended L and scale the reach milliseconds. So a request per second. As more and more requests is getting, latency is decreasing. This is the feature. Durable and highly available. Dynamo replicate data provided durability and it's safe. Data might be stored multiple, the cluster same data, copy, duplicate data. So it's very highly available. It's very safe. In the server, the data is replicated in multiple times, provide durability. So they have durability, means how many days you want to TTL keep this data. So it's durable. Then it will give you always available, write, and it can always write your data without any delay. Read, Dynamo provide a high availability. So write and read is very fast. And the next one is cost effective. The DynamoDB only charge the capacity we use, no charge on the storage data. The cost is determined by the throughput units. This means if there is not many reads, write our data, we will not charge. Oh, that's, cost effective. So if you keep on reading and writing, then they will charge. Otherwise, and flexible and schema-less. The only schema constraint we have when inserting item table, that item should have unique primary key, and as long as we provide unique primary key, you can insert whatever data you want to insert. This comes handy when you design database agile software. This is schema-less, and when you have primary key and as many as value you can insert in Dynamo. So these are features very important to learn about: the fully managed, fast, scalable, durable and highly available, cost effective and flexible schema. Yeah, so the now next uh, we are going to AWS value added services. So in this chapter we are going to cover database software managed, provisioning of hardware, partitioning and repartitioning, replication, scaling of the table throughput. So this is a DynamoDB and it has 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are AWS value services, right? So database software managed means our data it just works. AWS will manage software and update security. Anything updates in AWS will manage provisioning of hardware. So you don't care about hardware. So this is a serverless database, means don't need to worry about the hardware. The AWS team will take care. Partitioning and repartitioning. So when you add a partition, you need to repartition. So our horizontally scale up multiple servers. This means the data need to be partitioned. Also server added remove all the time, which means they have to repartition frequently. You don't have to worry. This is AWS will take care. Replication means same data how many times you need to write. Under the hood, whenever DB replicate data is for data for durability. Whenever you have think about replication as it's happened automatically, so you don't have a scale of table and throughputs. By default, when you create table, it's set to auto scaling. This means that even throughput units are managed by AWS or data table scale with the volume and there is a zero downtime. So these are things AWS will take care of. So this is very important parts. So deciding on DynamoDB, we will cover this one. Prior class on access pattern, not for blob binary. So if you have binary data, so you don't blob kind of binary large scale, you don't have to use small. And if you have like a fixed pattern, then you use prior access. Do you have clarity on what feature you access? Don't. If you have clarity, then use. If you don't have clarity, means DynamoDB is basically like what kind of query you use. If you have fixed pattern, then use DynamoDB. Otherwise, it will give the the low performance. Database is suited for certain use cases. However, it's not silver bullet for all our data needs. Here is some factor you should consider while deciding DynamoDB right choice for you. DynamoDB well equipped for large scale and right. However, if you are developing an online analytical processing, right, like row number, rank, window function, so it's not good choice for them. Complex query your data. DynamoDB is not good for. You can use DynamoDB for use case, but it's not scalable. Consider your scenario where you have banking database and now you don't know upfront all that type of query you will do not you will do on the data. For example, for application analyze customer online banking habits. Don't know everything you will do with this data. DynamoDB is not made such use cases. We can write whatever we want to write, which unique primary key. However, you can't query data using non-key attributes. Yeah, so you need key to access the data, not for blob, binary large object. Although you can save up to 4 KB data as one item. If you are trying to save larger file DynamoDB, we will be at loss. It would be better for us to use AWS S3, store the file and have link file to our database. So in this lecture, I'm going to conclude what we learned. What is a NoSQL database? What is the DynamoDB? Silent feature of DynamoDB. AWS added some features which you don't have to care. AWS will care, and when to use DynamoDB. Thank you so much for watching. Please like.